We do support the recommendation that was made by the Plum Committee. We had 3 opportunities to come to the Plum Committee to make presentations. We spent over 9 hours before Plum. It was a lengthy, but it was a very thorough experience. A number of different questions were asked. The request was thoroughly vetted. And so we're in support of every aspect of the recommendation that was made by the Plum Committee. Again, the business is very convenient to transit. It is very well policed. There is the Sheriff's Department polices the area on contract with the MTA. The Los Angeles Police Department frequently polices the area. They also have a bicycle unit that polices the area. And MTA also has a private security system that polices the parking lots. And part of that policing, they also pass by and also pay attention to what's going on in our business.
Where is it located?
It is located between Bessemer and the Orange Line on the west side of Van Nuys Boulevard.
It's a little strip mall.
Correct, correct.
And
it's a very, very old strip mall.
Yes.
So it was built before there was parking requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So the employees that in the store, when alcohol is approved, or if and when alcohol is approved for the site, and again, this is an existing license that we're asking for a conditional use permit for, is going to go through a number of different types of training. They're going to go through the 7-Eleven Coming of Age training program. We're going to require that managers go through the LAPD STAR program, as well as the LAPD, or the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control LEAD program with respect to the sales of alcohol. The business has, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but 7-Eleven has incredible corporate oversight. In the sense that they have mystery shoppers that come in that make sure the business is clean. If someone purchases an alcoholic beverage, they have to card that individual. They have to follow the protocol. If they do not, 7-Eleven will penalize them. If they receive 2 penalties, the franchise can be pulled. So 7-Eleven is very involved in the business itself. And again, for the sake of brevity, I wanted to, a request was made by the neighborhood council to include, I've got a couple copies for you also, to include lighting outside the building, not just our unit. What we're going to have is we're going to place lighting surrounding the entire building. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a minimum of 8 lights which illuminate the exterior of the building. I could show you the illumination study, and I've provided that to the chair. But the illumination study shows that the lighting is going to be consistent with 8 candle lights with respect to the intensity of the light within 5 to 10 feet of the building. We're sitting in probably a 9 to 10 candle light environment. So it's going to be an extremely well-lit environment surrounding the entire building, which is a request that was made by the Plum Committee, which we gladly agreed to. In addition, we're also going to be placing video cameras around the entire building. The video cameras, we're going to have 2 on each wall of the building. And again, we use approximately 30% of the space in the building. But we feel it's going to be to our benefit, the community's benefit, and the Los Angeles Police Department's benefit to have these cameras, to maintain them in a DVR system as a course of record for 60 days. So that if anything happens around the building, on public property or not, we will have a video record of it that the Los Angeles Police Department can utilize, or this neighborhood council can utilize also. In addition, I also had an opportunity to speak to Officer Kabunik, who's the second lead officer in the area. He agrees with the conditions that are being applied by the Plum Committee, the recommendation which comes before you today. And we're going to continue to reach out to the police department, Sergeant Fisher with Vice, and we're hoping to have a meeting with the senior lead officer, with Sergeant Fisher with Vice, as well as the bicycle patrol unit, to talk about ways that we can actually make the circumstances better around the area, not just with respect to, you know, normal issues that go on, but any issue that would go on around the area. And so with that, I'd like to make myself available for any questions and also have an opportunity to respond to any comments that
Joseph
are made.
and
I have a
Jeanette.
question. In a normal
Yes, sir.
situation, 7-Eleven normally has a parking lot. You pull in and they control the parking lot. They have trash cans and the rest. And are they going to put some extra trash cans in the front and in the front of the building, and the side of the building?
We have offered to put additional trash cans around the building. We have a trash can in front of the building now, but we'll be placing trash cans on the side of the building, the rear of the building also. And we'll be responsible for cleaning them up. If the trash cans, and I have to be quite honest with you, if they are removed by MTA, we've been told that we're just going to get a slap in the hand and told not to do it again. But as soon as they turn their backs, we'll put the trash cans out again, and I'm told that it's not going to have any effect on us at all. So we'll make sure trash cans are out there, and make sure that they're clean.
What would be the hours of setting?
8 o'clock in the morning until 12 o'clock in the at a.m. That's correct, and that coincides with the ridership hours for MTA.
My nice team.
Jeanette, then Penelope, then Derek.
Go there all the time. Miriam, her husband, and I went there this evening on our way here. It's in a tea kind of a situation. It's got the Domino's pizza there and a few other little small ones. Which, yes, it does.
What are those?
Sepulveda and Van Owen. Yep, I beg to differ with you. I just went there
We're not
tonight.
talking about that.
Van
We're not talking about
Van
that.
Nuys Boulevard.
Oh, Van Nuys? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm misunderstanding, because I thought you said Van Owen and Sepulveda.
No, you own the other one.
That's his
We're
own
not talking
store.
about that
Oh, so
one.
you're talking about the Van Nuys one, okay, I'm sorry, because I knew about that one. Because
Penelope.
you do it the same way as you do the Van Nuys the same way as you do this one. They have lots of trash cans, they have
It's a
security there,
It's a different
officers.
situation.
Same
Why
owner.
Penelope Meyer. Penelope Meyer.
Same franchise.
Penelope.
After doing a little research, we discovered that the location at Van Owen and Sepulveda
Of course you can.
has had a security guard, which was our wish as a group. And they have had it for at least 10 years, and they're still in business.
Correct.
You stated that it would wipe them out of business. That is a homeless corridor right there. And I am asking that we, again, ask for security at that location. The Sheriff's Department has told me that the crime has pretty much diminished there because no alcohol is being served there. The transients are gone. It's a much more pleasant environment. I am there every single day, and I can attest to that. If alcohol comes back, I'm going to ask that we bring a security guard in for everybody's safety. Behind is dangerous when the drunks are back there. And it has been immaculate since there's been no liquor. So that's just those are my...
If I may have an opportunity to respond, I was correct in stating that the security guard will put the business out of business. This business, if I may, 7-Elevens ordinarily want to see parking stalls in front of the business. And the rule of thumb is that each individual parking stall increases business by 1.5%.
Exactly.
So what you have is you have 10 parking spots in front of the building, which is ordinarily that's what 7-Eleven asks for a new franchise, for a new location. This doesn't have any. So they're beginning with a deficit already. This business was entered into with 7-Eleven. It was a risk to begin with because we're relying on just transit customers. There's no residential in the area. It is 90% of our business are transit customers. And so the business to date has not been doing as well as we've actually predicted it would do. We want to be a convenience to the area. We want to work in harmony with other businesses in the area also. As a matter of fact, what we're doing is we're actually going to be looking into carrying products that are local products. We've met with the McLeod Brewery, which is approximately 5 blocks away in the same area, and we're going to be carrying the 22-ounce McLeod ales to create kind of a synergism in this community. We're also looking at other goods that are produced in the Van Nuys area to kind of create a local flair.
We have a cricket farm.
Sorry?
We have a cricket farm.
I can hook you up with
If we have fishermen that come in that ask for crickets,
We do. We have a cricket farm. Let's not.
It's edible crickets for human
Let's
consumption.
move it, let's move it.
All right. Yes.
Okay.
No, but I like the McLeod Brewery thing. That's a good community partnership. Derek.
This license, does it give you the rights to sell hard liquors? Is it beer and wine? What is this license?
It's a general alcohol sale license. The distilled spirits are a minor
Candy, you're up next.
constituent. They're going to be kept behind the counter in a case, and individuals would have to actually come in and purchase them. We're not going to be selling the small airline-sized bottles per condition, per agreement with the neighborhood council plum committee.
Are there 7-Elevens that exist that do not sell alcohol?
Yes.
Yes.
Very rarely. Very.
And then will you be selling single can beer at this 7-Eleven?
We will be selling, we are asking to sell single containers. We're asking to sell single containers in 22 and 24 ounce quantities. And the reason
That's fine. I'm going to interrupt you just for a second because I guess that's an issue that makes a lot of sense to Penny's point, is since you have a lot of transients, you have a lot of opportunity for quick drinks, wait by the bus stop, get drunk, cause problems. And that's something that I have a hard time getting behind. I'm hoping that this board, I'm leaving soon, I'm sure many of you know, next meeting is going to be in the last meeting, but as we're trying to clean up Van Nuys, I like the idea of approving liquor licenses for restaurants that actually you can buy it with your food, and maybe stop more of the liquor stores that are selling in quantities and single serving cans for people that are just standing and being transient, loitering outside of establishments. That's just my concern. And if there is a give on your part or on your client's behalf, or client, that they would maybe reconsider selling the single can option, I might be more open to approving this, but as of right now, I can't.
George, may I have
Candy's up next.
Response?
Please.
Of course.
Okay. This is a unique circumstance, and I spent a substantial amount of time with the Plum Committee in discussing what the transit ridership requires. Transit ridership is different from a normal circumstance in the sense that when they come home, they want to stop off and they want to do some supplemental shopping. What they have to do is they have to limit their shopping generally to one bag, one grocery bag, because generally they have to walk 5 to 7 blocks after their last bus stop and they're generally carrying another item, one grocery bag, that's all they're going to be able to carry. So we have to be able to provide package sizing, which is consistent with transit passengers. Convenience is king for the transit rider. And so to encourage people to use public transportation, they have to have the same amount of access, the same access to products that they would in an automobile. If someone were driving home from work, they would be able to stop off at Kelsey's. They would be able to purchase a single bottle of McLeod Ale if that were available right there. To be able to do that, to be able to provide that service to transit customers, provide that convenience to transit customers, we're asking that the 22 and 24 ounce beverages, the 22 being the craft beers, the 24 ounce being no malt liquor, but being the Coors and Budweiser, that patrons purchase and use transit. Now, what we're doing is, this is a limited term license. So what the city does is, this is not a grant in perpetuity. This is a grant for a limited period of time, being it 2 years, being 5 years, whatever the zoning administrator decides. That's what's going to be the grant. Then we're going to have to come back, and we're going to have to reapply for the same license once the expiration takes place. What's important, though, is that we are, as part of the privilege of being given the opportunity to sell beer and wine and distilled spirits at the location, we're asking for a 6-month and 1-year compliance meeting, a compliance hearing that takes place. In that compliance hearing, the city lead officer, the police, the bike patrol, as well as Vice, will have the opportunity to weigh in, and additional conditions can be placed on the license. Single sales can be eliminated at that same compliance hearing. So what we're saying is that we're doing everything we can, and have done everything we can, to safeguard and put the safeguards in place. We're asking the City of Los Angeles to put those safeguards in place. And if, in fact, we don't live up, or there are issues, the city has the opportunity to take it away.
Right, it's much easier to...
When Derek's done with the floor, you can talk, Candy, I got you.
I think
It was my turn.
it's not as easy to take something...
Candy can be
once it's
recognized
granted.
next, everyone.
It is, and I'll correct you on that.
I know, and for what you talk about as far as, giving the same rights to a driver being able to go buy a single can malt beverage or wherever at Trader Joe's or what have you, the reality is we're talking about a specific area that has problems with people that are loitering and causing problems to the area. And by arming them with alcoholic beverages that are on a whim, being able to just drink at a bus stop, and it's an issue that I think that we as a neighborhood council actually have an opportunity to flex a little bit to improve our community. And I don't know if because you don't have parking spots that the business is going to go under. How long has it been open?
It's been open for 50 years.
50 years, and it hasn't gone under. I don't know if we did grant the license with the extra sales from the alcohol, why a security guard couldn't be hired. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I really feel that it would be doing a disservice to the community.
I think that the safeguards are in place. I am probably more familiar than anyone in the room with the planning department processes involved with this situation, so I would consider myself to be an expert when it comes to compliance review, when it comes to the condition compliance unit that the City of Los Angeles has just established as part of the Department of Building and Safety, which is being funded by the planning department. What the city is doing is they are including conditions of approval in every grant, in every conditional use permit. Those conditions of approval allow the City of Los Angeles to go back to hold a hearing to actually place additional conditions or to further restrict a license. It's a contract.
If there's data showing that it's a problem, but who's collecting this data?
It's not just data. It's the police department. It doesn't have to be data-based. It can be an opinion. It can be the testimony of a senior lead officer. The city of Los Angeles is also taking this situation very, very seriously. And so what we're asking is, we're asking that you trust us, that we're responsible businesses. We're putting it in place so that, we're putting it in place that we are volunteering compliance hearings that we would have to pay for. And in those compliance hearings, the bicycle patrol, the senior lead officer, as well as the vice sergeant, would all be in attendance. It's a hearing that the neighborhood council would get a notice of the hearing and can weigh in on the hearing. The safeguards are in place. It's not as though this is just a grant, as I mentioned, that just leaves it open-ended. The city has the teeth to do something about it. We have already suggested that we don't sell 12, we don't sell 16, we don't sell 20, we don't sell 32, we don't sell 40 ounce. We spent 9 hours before the plum committee that made this recommendation. Officer Kabunik, who I met with, agrees with the conditions, agrees with a single sale, as long as there are compliance hearings, and he's very familiar with these compliance hearings himself.
Actually, allow me to step in for 1 second.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Wait, we got.
I'm not.
He did not agree to single sales. I talked to him, and
He
the
did,
three of
he
us
did,
talked a
he
second
did.
ago.
All right. Let's let this gentleman finish answering, and then Candy is up next.
So, and then with respect to security guard, I can assure you that you're putting us out of business. Right? I can assure you that a condition that requires a security guard will put this business out of business. What we do, what we can do is, and what we do is we do train employees, and we do train employees to walk around the business. The security guard's not going to apprehend anybody. The security guard's going to call a patrol or the police if there's an issue around the building. And if we train our employees to do that, it's just as effective as having a security guard. And we don't have a parking lot.
And I'll relieve the floor after I say this last comment. The part of the single can thing I just can't get by. But to Penny's point about the security guard, when the new LA Fitness went up, I was 100% sure that wall was going to be tagged by graffiti. But what they did when they put that LA Fitness up was all they did was park a police officer's car with no one in it for like 3 months. And not one person ever came up to mess with that establishment. There was never a security guard there. There was never a police officer. It was just a simple police car. The presence of a security guard, regardless if they have the ability to apprehend or handcuff or put in jail, makes it all the difference in the world, because it's the illusion that there is safety and security right there in front of that establishment.
George.
Fair enough. Candido.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I can assure you that will put us out of business.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank
Candy.
You know, first of all, sir, you're wonderful. I wish you were a lawyer. Well, I'd hire you in a minute. You're doing a great job. The owner's not here. I wish he would have been here. But sometimes 7-Eleven makes mistakes. They gamble on places that don't work out. And you guys are expanding everywhere. You're buying other locations, putting your names up, and you're looking for the quick profit. That's great. But in this neighborhood and in this area has been taking advantage for too long. Now that business has been there for many, many years. But the thing that we've seen over and over again is an increase in homeless, the gang activity. We're talking about the tagging and stuff. You know where a lot of those guys, body of nice boys? They buy it right there at that location. Now, you said that you're going to bring in a product from one of the local brewers. It's a 22 ounce. That's the most popular can for a gang member. Let me go get my 22 ounce. We're going to sit behind the thing. We're going to tap on that. We're going to drink, and we're going to follow it. And before you know it, what you got gang shootings. You got every kind of crime increases. And if you folks approve this without that guard, you guys have done a disservice to this community, because this community has been neglected for too long, and we've watched it deteriorate because we have council people that don't give a damn about it. You guys have to give a damn about it, because you guys live here, and this gentleman is doing a great job representing his whoever he's representing, but you guys represent this community, and you have to give a no unless that guard is there. At least get that guard.
Maddie then Sandy.
May I respond? May I have an opportunity to respond?
Yes.
I'd like to
Let him respond, let him respond.
Are you a lawyer, sir?
No, I'm not. You should be. A security guard will put us out of business. I
So, I really don't care.
I guarantee it.
I don't care.
The business and the improvements were paid for by a private franchisee. It was not financed, it was not funded in any way by 7-Eleven.
That's called bad
What 7-Eleven does is they maintain the business. They ensure that the business is run properly, and they provide specific products to the business, and they profit
Good for
share
them.
as a result of the advertising they do and the good name that they've created.
I only care about the residents in this area, not the transit people. All I care about that the people here that live here finally start doing something to turn this area around. This is one of the best places in the
And
world.
we do too.
So-
We do too.
Okay.
Not only, and I wish I would have been able to speak when Guillermo was talking about the tagging that's taking place throughout Van Nuys, especially on Van Nuys Boulevard. One of the problems is for businesses. Businesses are the ones that send employees out to cover those tags. And so 7-Eleven requires it. 7-Eleven requires it. There's going to be a condition that we have to live up to make sure that the tagging is not there. We're putting in the lighting, which is expensive. We're also putting in the cameras, which will record any tagging that takes place. There are going to be high-resolution cameras. And we have discussed all these matters with your Plum Committee. I've spent 9 hours. I've spent well over 6
board
hours
still
before the
has to
Plum
vote?
Committee
It's
talking
only a
about all these
recommendation.
various issues.
7-Eleven should give you a list.
And the Plum Committee was satisfied that the necessary precautions are in place and the safeguards as applied by the city are in place. So we're asking this community to give us a chance to prove ourselves. Because if we don't do it, we take it away
Well, then
from
prove that by
ourselves.
getting that guard, the security guard there, because as Derek has stated, it does make a difference to those coming in that there is a security guard there, so.
It can be
I just
just
hope
as
you folks
effective, an
get
employee
our-
can be just as effective if.
All right,
if I may.
Jeanette,
Put 'em in
Maddie,
the
then
reserve.
Sandy.
Jeanette,
Jeanette, Maddie, then Sandy. Jeanette.
talking about the owner. The owner owns this place, he owns the one on Van Nuys and Sepulveda? She, okay,
She.
she has a husband then.
Karen Hussein, he is handicapped.
Okay, because I know him, and I will tell you, not only do they own those two, they own the one that's at the plant on Van Nuys, and I always forget the name of the cross street.
Sorry,
At the plant. Right, it's just the other side of our neighborhood, it's actually Panorama.
Just before the Roscoe.
It's, where the
Is that
GM
the
plant
point?
used to be.
Is that the
It's a
point?
big one. No, that one, Panorama, Van Nuys, Panorama City. That's a huge facility.
It's
And
North Sherman
they
Oaks.
make a lot of money
North
there.
Sherman Oaks.
I used to go in it every day for about 4 years. It was an article first, the owner that owned it died of a heart attack, and Southland bought it, and then he got it. So the long and the short of it is, this man has money to pay for a security guard, because he
Don't
owns,
cut his
just
money.
that one alone would give him enough
Don't
money
cut
to do
his
it.
money, that's not the issue.
Well, the point is, he may not have it at one location, but he has it at another that he can supply it for. So
The issue is.
when you're not telling the whole story, it's not fair.
I'm sorry, I need to respond to that. I need to
Let him
respond to that.
respond, we're
I need to have an
being
opportunity.
professional.
I want a security guard.
Let me tell you a little bit about the
No.
owner of this 7-Eleven. Her name is Karen Hussein. Okay? She has grown up in this area. Karen Hussein is not just a 7-Eleven a franchisee. She also sits on the national board. She sits on the Commercial Operations Advisory Committee. She,
Of what?
7-Eleven.
Southland Corporation, okay.
No, it's 7-Eleven, South End Corporation no longer owns 7-Eleven. But she essentially, she is an extremely responsible. You look at the business she runs. If you see the businesses that she runs, as you had mentioned with respect to Sepulveda and Van Nuys, it's a clean business. She runs it extremely well.
Except that there is transiency there, and there is drug dealing there too.
I agree.
I know, because I've seen it with my own eyes. So what you think you know, you don't always know, because you're not there all the time.
The City
I
of Los
live in the
Angeles
neighborhood.
is not enforcing their medical marijuana ordinance. There's a medical marijuana clinic.
Yeah, they've closed
and
over
it-
100 of
it
them,
has
so I'll tell
become-
you, that's not it. And there is, by the way, at that location,
I'm sorry,
a
I'm sorry.
pot shop 2 doors down from that 7-Eleven on Van Nuys and Sepulveda. So I'm telling you right now, this person does have enough money to be able to pay for a security guard, because there is one at the one we just talked about, Van Owen and Sepulveda, and probably it has a lot to do with that pot shop.
They still have a
And
lot
they
of
own the
crime.
big one at the
This-
plant, which makes money hand over fist, so I can tell you right now,
This
You should be able
business
to
has to
afford
be,
a
this
security guard.
business has to be self-sustaining, and this business cannot.
Not gonna be
Cannot.
approved even with security guard.
Good, and then
This,
they keep
this,
it.
this,
We
this
just don't
business,
want
this,
more. We don't want liquor with
Maddie.
people.
going back
Maddie, you have
to
the
work.
floor.
I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so we have an old world and we have a new world. We have a new world where there's an SB 375 and climate laws that maybe all these other 7-Elevens aren't impacted on, but the one he's talking about, the one on that map, is a transit development oriented 7-Eleven. And the city, whether we like it or not, is branding itself as a sustainable city. The rules for that 7-Eleven are a little bit different than all the other 7-Elevens that are not along a
No, they're not.
transit-oriented
No, they're not.
development route.
Let her finish.
This specific 7-Eleven is the anchor and the gateway to a great street, a business improvement district, and an area where the city and the powers that be want to gentrify, want to upscale. And so the beer that we're talking about, I hear what you're saying. That's every other 7-Eleven, trash. And I'm with you. I just want to level set for you all. The beer he's talking about is $9-10 a bottle. We're talking about hipster 7-Eleven. We're not talking about the gangster 7-Eleven. I don't know what you all want to do, but we need to get real about where the mobility plan is taking us, where SB 375 is taking us with regard to land use. Some of the things that the neighborhood councils in the past had a lot of say about, in this new age, we don't have as much say about. But what you said is absolutely right, except for a transit development-oriented 7-Eleven. Meaning, you're operating on the perfect script, except when it's along a business improvement district, a great street. This 7-Eleven is anchored too close to too many businesses that the powers that be have a vested interest to make it succeed. I just want to level set.
Okay.
Ms. Logan.
That's total bullshit.
Cindy,
You really get
you
rid
have the
of
floor.
the powers that be, if that's the case.
I'm not here.
My name is Sandy.
Okay, let's hear from this lady.
Sandy Logan has the floor.
It's been a long night, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sandy Logan. In front of you, you do have a copy of the requirements, or not, excuse me, the recommendations that the Plum Committee made. Can somebody read those out loud?
Are you happy with those?
Read them, I want everybody else, see what happens, this conversation has started, but none of you have read it out loud, so the whole audience may or may not be aware of
But
it.
if we're voting on this and they meet all of those requirements, minus the security guard, are you happy with it?
Okay, it says, hours of operation, we agreed at from 8 to 12 midnight, right? The applicant had originally wanted, last meeting, wanted from 6 a.m. to midnight, which now he's agreed to 8 to midnight, correct?
And I've talked to Officer Kabunik about that, and we're willing
We
to go forward
agreed a
with
couple
that.
minutes, correct. Providing, of course, all the signage that we need for our codes around the laws, the lighting that you talked about, which is fabulous, the cameras, which is fabulous, an opportunity to really high-level cameras, alcohol sales. What we talked about was allow, this is alcohol sales, allow 22 to 24 ounce of craft beers, okay? The officers, as well as myself, I'm a community member, I live here, I also work prevention, I'm a mom of 2 kids. I would not like single sale cans. If you would like to package them up in doubles, that's fabulous. I have no problem with supporting local businesses. Adding products from local companies into the store is fabulous. We need that kind of thing here in Van Nuys. But we don't need single cans, okay? And the cost of it, you're right, some people may not be able to buy it, but not all of these cans, this size of beer is gonna be that price range.
Right.
And that's the problem. Okay, so if he was saying that he
Well,
was.
overall, just so you know, the entire store eventually is gonna be a higher price point, meaning it's gonna drive out poverty simply because when you go in it, you're not gonna feel right if you can't spend a certain amount. It's an anchor to a business and.
But what we're talking about, okay, let me continue. No 40 ounce, no malt liquors, no fortified wines, and also we're gonna eliminate the small bottles, right? Eliminate the phone outside the location, adding music to the exterior of the location. A part-time security guard. We talked about a part-time security guard maybe during hours of operation. Not for the entire time of the store that's open. Of operation of alcohol sales. Is an
Is that part of the recommendation that was made?
That was part of the recommendation that
the security guard was a recommendation by
yeah, it
the
says part-time security on call and schedule on peak hours.
If in fact, what we could do is we could provide an on-call security service.
No, not on call.
No, an
That's
on-call
what the
security
police, when you have a
service.
problem, you call the police.
No,
An
exactly, do
on-call-
911.
An on-call security service is more effective
No.
than a security guard in the sense that they are armed, they drive up to the location, they're more forceful, and it is every bit as effective.
The peak out and schedule on peak hours from nights on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Peak hours. So I love, okay, if we can compromise a little bit, I would love the idea of peak hours. I love the ideas of alcohol sale time. I love your idea of just the incentive of having a police car out there. Okay, we could do the same thing with the security. Having them come by every other hour, doing a routine, walk by, check things out, what's going on. It's an opportunity, okay? The single cans, you're not going to just sell the high-level beers. You're going to you have to market to everybody in the community. So you can't sell single cans. Double them up, triple them up, and the security guard is the other issue.
What we're simply asking is we be given the opportunity. We're volunteering compliance hearings. We're volunteering work with the police department. There is going to be cameras, and we're going to be maintaining a 60-day inventory of images. So if there's any, we're going to be creating the evidence. If we don't do this responsibly, we're going to be creating the evidence against us, against ourselves. What we need to do is this is a transit-oriented business. And as a transit-oriented business, we have to sell packaging, which is consistent with the needs of our transit-oriented customers. It's consistent with the mobility element. It's consistent with trying to get more people to utilize public transportation.
Right, but the doubling them up or tripling them up is not going to make a big difference in their life in transit, right? First of all. Second of all, single cans, there are studies that have proven the single cans are designed for immediate consumption.
Exactly.
So, one, if that's the case, then we are promoting these people to break the law and cause havoc in our own cities.
Exactly.
So, they were designed just for immediate, just for me to have at this very moment and enjoy. So, if I'm promoting that in our communities, we're asking for profits. So if you're looking at, I love the idea of supporting our people on our buses and commuters and stuff. I love that idea. But carrying 2 or 3 cans is not going to make a difference in their lives.
We simply ask, the craft beers are not in double and triple packages. The craft beers.
They can be packaged that way.
And
the craft beers are the only ones.
They're not packaged.
Craft beers are not the only ones that can.
Brenda than you.
We would be amenable to single sales of craft beers. Because, to be very honest with you, our clientele is of every economic, is is every economic demographic. In the sense that we get people that are coming to the store after working graveyard shifts. We get people that are business executives that are working in downtown Los Angeles in different environments that don't want to put up with traffic any longer. Unless you give those individuals an opportunity to purchase the same types of products they would if they were driving their Lexus or their expensive vehicle to work, adding more vehicle trips to the roadways, they would have the same opportunity to buy that product. That craft beer that they wish to take home. But what they're doing is walking, using public transportation, and if it doesn't work out, if this does not work out, if
one can of beer and then let's talk out.
Or Officer Fisher, Sergeant Fisher, get complaints. The Sheriff's Department, as you had pointed out, if I may, it's not too late. It's not too late. This is a contract, there are conditions of approval.
This is our community, and we've
There
got
are
to get it right
There are
the
conditions
first
of
time.
approval. That is being
We've got to get it right. We can't do these anymore
Call for the question.
That's not the case. This is a
Jamie,
new
you got
era
something?
in land use planning.
Jamie, then Brenda. Jamie Cordaro is recognized.
One of the few things that business owners do prior to purchasing a business, if I'm not mistaken, you said Karen purchased this business, am I
She
correct?
invested $650,000.
All right, which is fine. But before they go ahead and sign on with someone like Southland Corporation, everybody knows it is 7-Eleven, but Southland Corporation, before you get in bed with Southland and take on that overall image, you should do some homework. So before she took that on, she should have done her homework, coming to the board, she should be here tonight as a concerned business owner to make sure she sees the entire board of directors and what we're concerned about. And the big thing is you're sitting here, you're sitting here and you're telling us that they cannot be in business if they hire a security guard. That's the risk she took when she got in bed with Southland Corporation. So with that being said, I understand that she's looking for more sales, which brings in profit that helps her pay her debt that she purchased the store with. But the problem is you don't bank on that because now there's conditions placed on the business through the renewal process of the alcohol license. And with the renewal process, this board has come together under the Plum Committee and then presented it to the rest of the board on their recommendations. You live in Long Beach, which is fine. You're representing an owner out here in the valley, fine. But the problem is we all live here in the area that we're concerned about. So our major concerns are going to stick on the recommendations that they're asking for. The big thing they're asking for is the presence of a security guard on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, which are high traffic evenings. If we get that, and we see after a year that there has been no disturbances in this, that rule, one of your conditions, may be relaxed at that time. But until then, I think 1 year isn't going to put that store out of business because that's basically what you're sitting here telling us, that the store's going out of business if they hire a security guard. If that's the case, then that's the risk she took, getting in bed with Southland Corporation.
Brenda.
If I may have an opportunity to respond.
Yeah, not long, because we've got a lot of speakers. Please.
Go ahead.
Sir, you're
If I may
recognized.
have an opportunity to respond. In the same sense that you made the suggestion that that the condition be relaxed after 1 year. In the same sense, I petition you to consider that a condition can be enforced after 1 year. And we're making the offer to have a voluntary condition placed on the conditional use permit that after 6 months, not 1 year, that our operation, the